Good morning and happy Friday. Hope everyone is having a great day so far. I am on the West Coast and we have our first storm this week, so that has been very fun to navigate. And give it a couple seconds here just to let people jump in who are going to be joining. Very excited about today's episode. In preparing, went back and started looking at previous sales plans that I've had and work that I've done. Some sales plans as far back as 2017. Love Google Docs and being able to find things. I'm excited to share some of what I've done and hopefully allow it to help you in your sales planning. For those of you who are curious, we are doing, it doesn't look great, but it tastes good. A little bit of hot chocolate because it's a rainy day, some coffee, nice little mocha. So we're going to get off to a good start today. We're very caffeinated. We're ready to go. With little ado, let's jump into it. For those of you who may be new to Cater Caffeine, this started as a concept back in March, and it's hard to believe that this will now be the 10th month of doing Cater Caffeine. There's a hidden episode in there because last month I wasn't able to connect because of my internet, so I have a whole episode on leadership that will produce as a hidden episode at some point. But really, the last 10 months have been an exploration of catering and sales and strategy and best practices and pulling on what I've been doing for almost 20 years now and really helping you find success in a space where catering used to be a nice to have. It used to be, oh, we have a catering order. That's great. We'll have a good day. To if a store doesn't have catering, there's no way they hit their targets. Catering is more important than ever before, in my humble opinion, as a catering representative. And I think the more we can dig into planning and to be strategic, that all helps you find success. And be it where you currently are now, if your current company, or if you go somewhere else, because I've had a few roles that I'll share in a moment. I've had people that have followed me now to 4 different companies and continue to order because I've built up that trust. All that to say, Cater Caffeine is a place where we come together and we look to grow our sales and to find success in the space. We've developed a catering sales playbook, which I am very fond of. I'll share a QR code here in a moment. There's some of the information we'll talk about today, but I'll work on getting the rest of that up over the next couple of days and I'll share a post soon. With Cater Caffeine, your place where you come to grow catering. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jerome Dees Jr. I am an award-winning sales professional. As I shared, I have nearly 20 years of experience in the space. And I always say that I might be a little over 20 years. I might have to update my pitch there. I did win the My Journey Award from the National Restaurant Association last year. And that award was given to me both for my work within the restaurants and developing other leaders and growing programs and setting records, but also for the work I do in the community, a lot of nonprofit volunteering. I was going through the numbers and a school project that I helped get off the ground again this year. We donated over almost $30,000 to local schools in San Francisco and going to schools in Oakland, California that have very few resources. I know that money for field trips, one group did a community garden where kids are learning about gardening. And I love gardening, if you know me. I love all that stuff. So this award, and I keep it on my desk now behind me, is a daily reminder of the impact that we can have in the space, but the impact that we will have as we get into the future, provide jobs for new people and resources for our stores. I've spent 8 years at Bagel Brands, which is also known as Bagels, Einstein Brothers Bagels on the East Coast. I learned a lot about sales there. I started off as a delivery driver, oddly enough, worked my way up to a sales manager, to a regional sales manager, 55 locations over 3 states. I had up to 100 people reporting to a little 25-year-old Jerome, and it was overwhelming. But once again, I could either shrink and just fall back, or I could try to develop some sort of system for figuring that out and doing monthly meetings and bringing people together and listening to them and doing reviews and helping people develop. And I love that I had drivers there that would go on to become coordinators and managers with me at other jobs. And I take, once again, a lot of pride in that. I was with a group called Le Boulanger for 5 years, family owned operated restaurant group in the San Francisco area. I started off with catering, also took over their wholesale department. I was able to work with the US Open at Pebble Beach. I had a partnership with the 49ers that I was able to oversee. I've catered for a Super Bowl and for WrestleMania. I love wrestling, don't judge me. And just all these really cool experiences. I love what I do now, but Le Boulanger may be, when I think back to the ideal time, the salad years, as they say, Le Boulanger was that for me. I was with Wise Sons for 5 years prior to my current job. Started there in September, right before the pandemic. So that was an interesting ride where catering became more about community pop ups and groceries for people's homes, and just that insane pivot to feeding people who were being isolated because of COVID. And then having to realign as things bounce back and go back to the old way, but with some of the new way. I was there for 5 years, started off as a director, went to VP of sales again, and now I'm the VP of sales of Talkalicious. I've been here 2 years. We will bring tacos to where you work, celebrate, or live. We can drop them off and set them up. We can do full service and shake some margaritas for you or anything in between. I can claim that I've sold over 4 million bagels because nobody can fact check it, hundreds of thousands of tacos, and I have a passion for training and catering and just this industry that allowed me to come and learn and grow and now to give back to others. If you can't tell, I really enjoy what I do, and I've been able to do that across the United States as well, speaking at conferences and trying to encourage the next generation of sales professionals. So that is me in a nutshell. I don't like this slide, oddly enough, but I think it's important for you to know what I've done, the brands that I've worked with. So as you're looking at adopting some of these strategies, maybe you tweak them slightly. Not a lot of my experience has been in high-end restaurants. So if you're at a Michelin star restaurant, maybe you want to do things a little differently than I have. Just want to make sure that you have that framework. This is your link to the sample sales playbook. Point your phone at it. You will get a Google Doc that you can then make a copy of. You can go ahead, you can fully edit it, change things for your brand. At the end, we may pop that up, but I have a very nice setup right now, so I don't want to interrupt that by going out of it. But this is our sample sales playbook. A lot of really good information in there, and we'll do a quick recap now, sharing what some of those pieces are. So over the last 10 months, 9 if you don't count the bonus episode I have to produce, we have talked about contact types within catering. Are you reaching out to your FTOs, which are your first-time orders? Are you checking in with your PYOs, which are your prior orders, to thank them again for their business and to get that business back? Then our space, there is an assumption that everything you did last year, you're going to have this year, and that's not going to be true. I have had attrition rates where 10% of our business from last year didn't come back, and I've had attrition rates where 50% of our business from last year didn't come back. When you're working with places like the Moscone Center, where 5,000 people can come in for a conference and you're doing an event for that, conferences don't always come to the same place each year. So sometimes attrition isn't bad. It just is what it is. But you have to keep up with those contacts. If I know, because I reached out to people in November for December, that I have 4 large parties that aren't going to repeat, I know I need to push a little harder with some of the customers I'm currently working with some of my cold calling to try to make that up. Maybe we increase our online ads. Maybe we're doing more communication in the store as people are picking items up. Oh, we offer delivery. We can bring this to you. And if your group, there are all these things that we can do, but we have to be aware. We also looked at your ideal customer profile. Who is that? If you could be in an elevator with them, who is that customer that you want to have 5 minutes with to tell about your brand and what you do, that you know that they're the type of person that will order from you? You have to know what this person is. And as I'll talk about in a little bit, sometimes the ideal customer profile this year might change next year. AI has blown up in a huge way. There are whole sections of San Francisco now that are starting to be revitalized because some of these AI companies are moving in and taking over multiple floors of buildings that had low occupancy. Now restaurants around those and other services are starting to get a little busy because now these people are coming into the city and they're working and they need to find somewhere to have lunch. AI wouldn't have been on my list of ideal customers 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But now, if you're ignoring them, you're setting yourself up for failure. So, the ideal customer profile is something that you want to have in place, but you also want to be looking at because it's going to adjust over time. We talked about having dedicated time to selling. If you're a sales professional and I ask you to pop open your calendar and you don't have blocks of time that are dedicated to selling, I would find it hard to believe that you are being successful because selling is the lifeblood of our business as sales professionals, and you have to set up time to do it. It is okay to block time on your calendar. Hopefully, if you're in a good culture and you tell your boss or your supervisor, hey, on Monday between 1 and 4, I'm going to be selling like crazy. Please try not to schedule any meetings because I want to make sure I'm hitting my targets. I find it hard to believe that anybody would fight against that. So own your calendar, find time to dedicate to selling. We talked about competitive research and secret shopping your own brand. I used to love when people would call me while at Lebu and say, hey, we want to order from you, but your delivery fee is too high. So we're going to order at this other brand unless you can lower your delivery fee. Oh, well, I understand what you're saying. But the other brand, although their delivery fee is lower, their box lunches are $2 more per person. So if you order more than 16 box lunches, you're actually saving money with us. Oh, well, I didn't realize that. And they would just place the order. Young me, 23, 24-year-old Jerome would have said, oh yeah, I'll discount that, no problem. I'd love to have the business. But as you really get into this and start understanding truly what your competition is doing, what they're offering, just because the two delivery fees are different doesn't mean that everything else is apples to apples. So by doing these secret shops, by doing the competitive research and just placing a sample order through those other brands, you can learn enough to be able to speak intelligently. I try not to speak poorly about other brands because I have jumped around a lot and I never know where I'm going to end up. So speak kindly about others because we're all in an industry and we're better if everybody's humming along together. But it is okay to speak facts. And if a fact is, yes, if you do this, we can be in a better spot, that's okay. We talked about a sales process for first-time orders, really digging into how you treat those customers, following up with those customers 1 month later. If you spent all that energy to get someone to order, you want to make sure they keep ordering. And whatever your average order volume is, if it's once a month, if it's once a quarter, you want to make sure that you're getting them into that cadence. So if you haven't seen another order in 60 days, I'll probably nudge that person. It's far easier to encourage someone who has worked with you to keep working with you than to do all the cold calls and all the back and forth. I would rather do the warm calls and people we know already than to do the other work any day of the week. We talked about managing slower times. I hit a couple months where things just almost grinded to a halt, and it's easy to freak out and to be unsure. But if you take a step back, you can really look at the things that you know have worked in the past, and you can do work during those slow times. And now I'm right back in it where I'm already up 20% for the period I'm in. I still have 2 full weeks of this period. And thankfully, Thanksgiving falls into a whole other period. So I have 2 really good weeks. So now I'm putting the pedal to the metal and I'm trying to lock in everything I can. That way, as I get into December, I have a little bit of cushion. And even if things come up a little short because of Thanksgiving, I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to hit my target for the year, which is amazing. And then we talked about quarter 4 having just a plan to execute this quarter, things that you could really dig into. Each quarter has its own cadence and its own holidays. We really just went through what are some of those things that you could do. And if you're interested, you can go back and look at that episode on YouTube. I think there's some really good stuff in there. And since we still have about 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks to pay it on your calendar, you might be able to find some success within that. And then the last thing, the episode I didn't get to do, I prepared a talk about leadership. And I've had some leaders who I would try to walk through a wall for, who encouraged me, who were there for me. I know that I could be a lot early in my career. I don't think I knew I was a lot back then, but I could be a lot. And there were still people that tried to meet me halfway. But I had leaders in some cases that would make my hand shake when they called me. And I don't think they did it on purpose. I'm going to believe that as optimist I am, but they didn't know enough to be self aware to not do it. And everything we talk about, your sales process, how you interact with your guests, both internal and external, because I believe, and I wholeheartedly believe, that I need to treat my internal customers better than I treat my customers. I'm not going to every event. I'm handing that paperwork off to a team, and I have to trust that they're going to go out and be a great representative of the brand. And that starts with me treating them with respect and giving them the training and the support. I had a driver this week who misread the schedule and just didn't show up for a shift. And the why behind the what made sense. And I didn't come down on them. I didn't scream at them. I didn't yell at them. Yes, it made my job harder, but this is the same person next week that I might be reaching out to save my butt because someone else can't make it because of a family emergency, last minute check in, and they may be there for me. So I just want a quick reminder about leadership. I have a little slide at the end where I'll highlight this again. And I have a whole bonus episode, once again, that'll come out at some point about leadership. All right, let's check our messages. Thank you, Terry, for sharing the sales playbook. That's available in the chat if you click in there. All right, so planning for 2026. I often use the analogy that if you get in a car and start driving, yes, you will end up somewhere, but are you going to end up where you want to be? Yeah, maybe if you've been there a couple times before, you can navigate without a GPS. But if it's somewhere new and it's clear across the country, odds are that you just getting in your car and driving and ending up there without a map or directions, it's probably not going to go your way. You may argue, even if I have directions in GPS and a map, there's still accidents and there's still detours. Yes, but if you're heading the general direction, even if you have to go around, because that's life, you're still going to end up there eventually. And for me, that's what the sales plan is. I had years early in my career where I found success almost by accident and just doing a bunch of different things. But I couldn't take a step back and really analyze, hey, here are the three buckets I know that I was working with then. Oh, it looks like this bucket really worked. Well, this bucket didn't work at all. So let's get rid of that, because why are we going to spend time where we don't need to? Let's put more energy here. I can do that today. I couldn't necessarily do that 17, 18 years ago. So as you'll see here in a moment, a sales plan really allows us to write things down, to share them with anybody with ears in our organization who's willing to listen, with the leadership above us, so that they know that you have a clear, concise approach to how you're managing your business. You can share it with the people that you work with, that you support. Hopefully, you were working with them to develop this plan. So you're not just throwing a bunch of stuff at them, because going back to leadership, that may not go your way. My best year, Les Boulanger, the sales plan I had, the whole team helped me to come up with what we were going to do. We didn't have a mission statement. We didn't have a vision statement. We developed those as a team. So it wasn't just me spouting things to people. Because they helped develop it, they had an investment in it. They had a stake in it being successful. And every time we started to do something, the team would actually challenge me. Hey, does this hit one of the 3 points that you said we were going to focus on this year? And if it didn't, I'd have to explain why we were doing that thing. And sometimes that thing did not make sense to do. But I love that people felt empowered to be able to do that. And it should be the same with your sales plan. It should be transparent. It should be well written. You should have everything you're going to do outlined to a point where anybody on your team can pick that up. Oh, okay, I understand what we're doing here. Oh, I don't quite understand this. Can you explain it to me? I love a well-written sales plan. As I was going through my old records, I found this little graphic from a 2017 catering strategy that I had floating around at Les Boulanger at the time. Don't judge the colors; they're a bit much, and I see that now. At the time, I thought this was really cool, but the colors are a bit much. But we decided to focus on operations and product and experience, and not just experience for our customers, but also experience for our internal customers. The team that I had taken over, there wasn't a lot of structure. And although I could sit in our call center and I can take calls and I can show them the behaviors we're looking for, and I could empower them to give away a free box lunch to an admin who is ordering, and to simply say, hey, do you get to have lunch from this? Because if not, here's our list of box lunches. Let me throw something in there for you. Those little touches that go a long way. Part of the 2017 strategy, and I was reading through this morning, there was a whole section on building a catering desk manual and having a discount guide. I don't want them to come to me if someone needs a discount. If they're a nonprofit, if they're a school, here's what you can do up to a certain dollar amount. If they're spending over X, you can throw in a free salad, or you could throw in a free container of iced tea. It was a very systematic approach to developing this resource with them, not for them, but with them, that they could then take and be successful. And it freed up a ton of my time, because now I have people in the right positions who are empowered to do the right things. And that was part of this strategy. And then in 2018 and 2019, I didn't have to do that work. Everybody knew what they were doing. When someone new was training, there was literally a flip book at each station. And if there was an error with an order, if an order was 20 minutes late, they were empowered to automatically add in that discount or offer that future credit. And it was a really cool thing, and part of what we did here, and part of what we'll talk about here in a moment. I would encourage you, as you're looking at your plan for next year, to start with a story. I actually wrote a goal setting book, oddly enough. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. I forget about it sometimes. And it's this really cool hardcover book. And it encourages you to just go sit under a tree or to sit at a park and to just scribble out, if you're at the end of your career and you're getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, what is the person on stage saying about you before you get up there to get that award? What are the reasons why you're being honored? And it's the same thing with a sales plan. At the end of 2026, if you are asked to get up in front of your organization and to outline the year and why you found success, what are those things that you were able to share that made you successful? Start with 2025. I know there's still some time to get through this period, but if I was asked right now, hey, you said that you're up for the year, which is great. You said catering grew, which is amazing, but how did it happen? And I didn't practice this, so who knows how this is going to go. We'll see what comes out of my mouth. A little more courage here. I could share for 2025, my team got off to an amazing start. We had some good momentum from 2024 and some of the initiatives we put in place. We had this really amazing gala that we did with a local school that was a fundraiser at this historic building, which added some really good fuel to have an amazing first quarter. Unfortunately, we hit some bumps with tariffs. A lot of the products that we serve as a Mexican food restaurant come from Mexico. That had a weird impact. People got a little tighter with their money. So we started to see some of those larger orders dissipate. We saw third parties get weird for a while. But then we were able to turn it around, and a single order back in March that was $600 turned into a $27,000 order for December, which allowed. So what's your story for 2025? If you're asked in 5 minutes or less to look at the year, to articulate how it went, why you ended up where you ended up, could you do it? Do that for 2025. Speculate what that would be for 2026. And the sales plan is really going to be the bridge to gap those two stories. Once you have your stories in place, and they don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be well written, this isn't college, they don't have to follow a certain format. You literally can just scribble things like crazy. If you want, if you have the ability through ChatGPT, turn on ChatGPT as though you're talking to a friend, because it has that feature now. And just tell it, hey, I want to tell you a story about how catering is going to go in 2026 and how I think things are going to end up. And I'm going to grow my sales by 25%. And this is how I'm going to do it. And talk that all out and ask it to give you a summary, and it will spit it out for you. It might even be easier than writing old school for those who haven't used a pencil and paper in a while. Once you have those stories, then you're going to start working on your framework. It's going to begin with a needs assessment. And a needs assessment is looking at the things that you're going to need to find the success in 2026 that you believe you can get based off of the story that you're telling. You could also look at what lacked this year and what you wish you could have had. For me, one of those things, we struggled with labels this year. It took 6 months to produce a label that just shows the name of a protein and if it's vegan or gluten free or if it contains dairy. But we have it now, and it's improved how our box lunches sit on tables. It's improved our packaging. It used to be someone say, I have a vegan in my group, and everybody would go, what's a vegan? We don't know. And now you have to know what a vegan is. You have to know which items are gluten free, which items have certain things in them. I have a whole dietary guide that's part of my frequently asked questions page where I try not to take the responsibility for other people and what they put in their body, but I will send you that list and you can print it and have it on your end. If you want to develop menus, you feel free to do so. But there's so many different needs now that that's one of the things that lacked this year and then going into next year. And I think it's something I can keep improving on. So do a needs assessment. If you're going to grow your sales by 25%, and you have internal delivery team, you're probably going to need more drivers. Maybe you need another van. Maybe you need more wagons. Maybe you need more hot bags. These are all things that you can outline, put some numbers next to them. I think I'll need 40 new hot bags or $20 a piece. That's $800. I'll need a couple more wagons or $100 a piece. The more you can outline this, the more you can articulate what you need and to make that simple. If you came to me as a leader and you said, I did $3 million last year, I want to give you 3.6 million this year, but I'm going to need $8,000 worth of the investments and I'm going to have to hire a couple more people, I'm going to give you that $8,000 and I'm going to let you do what you need to do, especially if you have some of the things we're going to talk about in a moment outlined. In terms of your framework and your needs assessment, this can be operations. It could be how things are being made. It could be a resource for the team and how they're portioning things. Does your menu look good? Do you have the right things on there? I know some brands have had the same menu for 4 or 5 years. Sometimes bringing seasonality or some LTOs in could help. Is it your people? Are your people empowered to do the right things? We have drop-off catering that we offer, and we also have full service catering we offer. And within that full service, we offer bartenders who will come and shake margaritas and other mixed drinks. And I love attending events where someone will walk up to the bar and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know Tacolicious did all this. And if your bartender is trained, right away they should go, yeah, we can come to where you work, where you celebrate, where you live. We do stuff in venues like this. We've been in backyards. Do you have something coming up over the next year? I'd be happy to pass on. Maybe it's not a warm lead, but we don't know unless we try. And you have individuals in these positions every single day to talk to our clients, and make sure they're trained to be able to do so. Likewise, I had a driver a couple months ago who called me on the way out of a delivery, and she goes, hey, I just thought you should know, in addition to the food I set up, they had breakfast from this place. She was telling me they were bringing in dinner from this place, and it looks like they also had this because I saw the napkins with the branded logos on it. Well, that's really good information to have, because this was also a customer that was going back and forth on discounts a little bit, but the other brands they were ordering from, I know don't discount, and I know were more expensive than us. So it gives me a little bit of ammunition to where I can be a little more aggressive in my negotiations. I'm going to encourage you. I highly encourage you to create a list of objectives by month, also known as a marketing calendar. I've worked for groups where National Sandwich Day would approach, and 2 weeks before they were still trying to figure out what they did. That is not great. I've also worked for groups like Bagel Brands where their POP or their box of signage and LTO collateral would be in the restaurant 2.5 months before things were even being rolled out. That is incredible. Your marketing calendar should have a list of your target holidays. It should have a list of promotions that you want to do. Super Bowl is coming to the Bay Area next year. We are going to do a ton of Super Bowl parties, I'm sure. Our DoorDash is going to be crazy. That's something that we need to get ahead of and be prepared for. I need to be telling my staff at the end of December that Super Bowl Sunday is potentially a blackout date. And I understand some people are going to want it off, but we're also going to need staff. So maybe on my end, I need to pay time and a half or do some things to encourage them. But those are all conversations that need to be had well before things approach. have your marketing calendar, outline all the things I have listed here. And I didn't show this yet, but I also found my 2020 sales plan. And I'm really sad because I was very excited about this plan before the pandemic hit. And what I'm sharing with you now, I know it's here. Bear with me for a second. There we go. So it might be a little hard to see, but on this sheet is a list of every month, and it's all the objectives I have for each month, and everything is color coordinated to where if I'm the marketing person, I can browse over this, and anything that I see that's pink, I task that team, hey, here's what we want to do. You tell me what information you need from me. You tell me when you need it. But all this stuff 2 weeks before anything's listed, I expect that there is collateral. If there's an email blast needed, that's ready to go. That if we're doing training with the staff, I'm setting that up. During my morning meetings at Le Boulanger, every Tuesday we'd come in at 7 o'clock and we'd have 45 minutes before the day started. And we would go over everything that was coming up. We would role play so they knew how to respond to things. Your internal customers are, in my opinion, more important than your customers. And if you can really empower and train as part of your plan for next year, it should be a core element of what you're doing. Amazing things will happen. Make sure you have your marketing calendar outlined like I have here. If you know in January it's going to be slower, sometimes we'll do a gift card for orders over $200. Once again, that should all be planned out ahead of time. You should never have something sneak up on you. You should always be prepared for what's coming your way. And then bonus points if you, weekly, monthly, quarterly sales activities. This goes back to everything that we've talked about over the past 9-10 months and bringing it together. You should know, if you are a sales manager, what are you doing weekly? What are you doing monthly and quarterly? For me, the weekly is always first-time orders, prior year orders. I'm checking in with large customers from last week to thank them again, usually via phone because a lot of what we do is via email. When it gets to monthly, I might look back at the previous month again, and maybe I called someone who ordered that first week to say thank you, but now I see they haven't placed their next order. They typically order monthly. I'm going to do a quick call. Hey, just want to check in. What's your next date? Happy to copy this for you. Just want to save you some time. Want to make sure I didn't miss this for you. Under quarterly, sometimes the largest orders aren't necessarily large orders. And what I mean by that is you may have someone who placed $3,000 orders, and that's great. We love that. But you also may have someone who ordered $200 a week every single week, and those add up as well. So I like to sort by account and to pull up those large ordering accounts as well. That way those small orders that don't seem as significant don't slip through the cracks. And I have found customers on that list, especially when I was working with the larger organizations supporting multiple states, where, oh my gosh, this person spent $8,000 in a sneaky way over the past couple months. I want to make sure that we're doing something for them. And from that, you can take that information and you can create a scorecard from it. We haven't really dug into scorecards. Maybe this is something I'll do on the next episode. But a scorecard is really just a way for you to articulate what's going on. For me, each week, a scorecard consists of what were my sales last week, what are my sales for the upcoming week, how many orders did we do last year, how many orders did we do this year, how many of those orders were of a certain size, and I like to look at orders that are $1,000 or more. If I had more of those this year, I assume that we probably hit our objective, but not always. And if we had more of those huge orders last year, kind of assume that we may have come up short, but maybe not. Maybe our order count overcame what we did, because our average order, usually 3 orders equals one of those large orders. So we really have to do a bunch of large orders or smaller orders on weeks where we had large orders last year. But it's just taking all that information and putting it in a format where it's very in your face. It's very easy to read. I produce this every Tuesday. We go over it in person, but if someone wants to pull it up and look at it, it's there. I want to answer questions before they're asked. And I think for that reason, part of your plan, part of what you present each week should be a weekly scorecard. Once again, we'll do a session on that at some point. I'll outline how that can work for you. Continuing our framework here, Look at people, product, and process. Not something I came up with, but I think it is a very simple way to look at your planning and what you're looking to achieve. Do I have something in here about my customers and my internal customers? Am I improving my team? Am I making things easier for the people that we're working with who are ordering food? Typically, if you're making things easier for your internal customers, it will translate, but not always. So make sure you have your eyes on both. In terms of product, this can be the actual food that you're putting out. This could be your packaging. This could be your website, could be part of your product. It's all part of this overall of ordering catering. Are you looking at those things? Are they how you need them to be? This goes back to your secret shopping your own brand. Order catering for your family. Take it home, put it on the counter, and ask your family to critique it. Look at things through the eyes of what a customer would see. Why is this over here if I'm getting this first? Well, shouldn't this be over here? Do you have a standard setup? That can be part of your process. These are all things that you want to look at. Within looking at people, product, and process, I would have a few areas, a couple areas in each that you're really looking to dig a little deeper in. And if you were able to see my plan, this sheet right here, it's a sales process. And one of the things that I had was trying to use coupons as a way to generate orders. We had a coupon that was free delivery on your first order over $500 or more. I had a coupon that was a free item. We did free lemonade and free iced tea. And we had these cool little coupons that we'd leave on counters and stuff. Very high quality, glossy business card size, really well done picture. I might have one somewhere still, but we'd leave those anywhere and everywhere. And it was amazing how much business we got from those. If someone ordered breakfast, as I was at a few concepts that ordered breakfast and lunch, I would flag their profile and I would send them a coupon for a free salad on their first lunch order, as long as that lunch order was in the next couple weeks. I tried to add a certain sense of urgency, but I was also trying to get people who ordered from one day part to get into another day part. So once again, I took an area and then I expanded on that area for a few bullet points to explain how I was going to get there. One of the ideas could be for product, do you need to optimize your menu? Do you have those dietary needs clearly outlined on the menu? I'm guessing most people do at this point because it's no longer a nice to have, it's a need to have. But are you highlighting which items are healthier? In terms of your menu design, do you have a box around the item that you really want people to order because it's easier to put together and it's a higher COG item for your team? There are all these little things that go into the menu, and you just want to make sure that you have it down. Maybe one of the things you're looking at is your process and increasing the number of approved vendor lists that you have. I just did a walkthrough with the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. And it was amazing. They have all these really cool spaces that people can come and do performances in. We are now on their list of preferred vendors for the next 2 years. And if that goes well, we'll be on a list of approved vendors. And it's going to be a locked list. If you're not on the list, the food can't come in the building. I'm excited. I would rather get an email from someone that's going to use that space where I just have to prepare a menu and a contract. It's a short list of people that could be there, so there's less competition. And I know the space. I can speak confidently about it. I have a COI on file already. I don't have to worry about that. I know that the green room is on the 3rd floor and that we're going to have to use the freight elevator because I just did the walkthrough. I can make it sound, I can come off so confident with those customers. And they'll be like, yeah, it sounds like you know what you're doing. Let's go ahead and go for it. As opposed to a building I've never been in downtown San Francisco, where my team gets stuck in a loading dock and they can't reach people. I want to go off what I know, and getting on a approved vendor list and building those quality relationships to where business comes our way. I'll do that all day long. And then in terms of people, it goes back to that sales training that I was talking about earlier. Do your bartenders know how to encourage people to order if they seem interested? If someone walks up to the taco bar where we're serving tacos and they go, oh my gosh, this would be great for the birthday party we have coming up. Oh, let me pull you aside real quick. Let me text your information to our VP of sales. I'm sure they'll reach out. They'll be happy to set things up. It's super simple. We'll do everything we have today. This is the same table setup. Not only is that good for Talkalicious, but because we employ our own servers, It's good for the servers too. If Marco texts me, hey, this person just inquired about an event, can you reach out to them and I get that event, I'm scheduling Marco for that event. And if I can kick a gift card his way to say thank you, I want to encourage that. These are all things that you should outline in your sales plan for the next year. Your team's not going to be upset if they know there's a referral fee for sending business your way simply by having conversations at events that they're already getting paid to be at. You're going to want to review and update your sales process as well. We've talked a lot about the type of people you're going to target and what the ideal customer profile is, but that's going to change over time. AI has become a huge thing in San Francisco. Some of these buildings that had low occupancy are now almost fully filled because AI companies have moved in and taken over multiple floors. Now there are buildings where there weren't people and now there are. And there are cafes within the bottom of those buildings that are seeing business where they weren't. I wouldn't have guessed 3 years ago that AI would be a chunk of my catering and events business. But going into next year, I can't imagine that not continuing to grow. Does that mean another area is shrinking? Does that mean this is all just growth? You want to make sure you're analyzing your list of clients. So pull that list of clients, make that part of your story. I see based on this year that even though Easy Cater may have been down because there was something weird there, we also saw a lot of growth over here, and that helped us to XYZ. You know that by doing the research, pulling those lists, sorting them, and going through that data. As we start to wrap up, in terms of additional items that you can throw in your sales plan, I think having a succession plan or a development of your team. People are going to move on. I have some of our servers that have transitioned to full-time jobs other places because it is a part-time role. So how many servers should I have in place? Do I have someone that I can use more as an event manager that can lead some of these groups when I'm not able to be there? If so, what does that training process look like? Do I need help during busy months, maybe with some admin work? Okay, I have one person trained on that. Can I train another person? You want to make sure this is all outlined. So once again, as you present this to those above you and say, hey, this is the investment I need to get to where we want to be, that it all makes sense. And then I shared earlier, me and my award. I love my award. In terms of leadership style, and this is that hidden episode that I didn't get to produce that I will at one point, it all boiled down to a question. Are you the leader you always wanted to have? I know that there are days that are tougher. I'm doing a lot more work right now than I was a few months ago, and I'm trying to navigate what that looks like. But that's not an excuse to not be kind to my team or to support them the way I'd want to be supported. Even though I'm getting calls at 7 o'clock at night sometimes because there's a small issue with an order, I'm answering the phone because I'd want someone to answer the phone for me. We have this amazing opportunity to take everything we've learned in our career, especially as we get that leadership title, and to support people in a way that makes them feel like they're a part of something. It all starts with choice. And for me, when I left Noah's and the situation there, which had not become great or ideal for my mental health or what I was going through, I remember telling myself as I transitioned to Le Boulanger, I get to decide the leader I want to be. I can take things that these other leaders did that I liked and I can incorporate them, and I can take things they didn't like and I can shy away from them. And lo and behold, I remember when I left Le Boulanger, like my team literally cried, and I cried because we had built such an amazing thing there. And if I could still be there, I would. I wish they hadn't sold off that business. But you have the ability to choose the type of leader you're going to be. And the reason I keep this on my desk is not just to boast, but every morning when I start, I see it and it reminds me to level set and to do what I can to make sure that my team can be as successful as possible. And with that, my friends, start a Google Doc. Keep it simple. You can do pen and paper. I have a stack of these little books that I get from conferences on my desk. So when inspiration hits, I can just scribble into it. Just start writing. Write your story for this year, why you are where you are, what you did, how you did it. Start thinking about 2026 and what you want to accomplish and what that will look like and the industries you're working with and the reasons you found success. And then start writing out a plan that's going to bridge the gap between where you are today and the success you're going to find next year. Because even if you shoot for 25% and you only get to 20, 20 is not bad. but having a plan and working that plan is going to help you get there. I promise you, I have not fallen short sales target wise in my career, with the exception of the first year of COVID, which was a year that I don't count towards that. So once again, if you have any questions, if you have anything you need clarification on, send me a LinkedIn message, send me a message through CaterLink. I will post the rest of this content within the sales plan that we have going. I am excited for you to start your sales plan. I look forward to hearing from you on what you're doing and how you're doing it. We will jump into catered scorecards on the next episode. I thank those of you who have tuned in. Go sell some catering.